Live streaming is on.
And there we go. All right. We are live. Although most people will not see this live, we are saving this for later for everybody. Welcome to Pirate 101. We are the Pennsylvania Pirate Party, and I'm going to close this window because it is very distracting. We are going to be talking cybersecurity and cyber freedom tonight, and we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm Drew Bingaman, provisional captain of the Pennsylvania Pirate Party and co-organizer. Johnny, I'll kick it over to you.
Hi. John Robinson, provisional secretary, and one of the main people helping to organize the Pennsylvania Pirate Party.
And our special guest tonight, Yari.
Hello, I'm Yari. I am the chair of the most known to be the chair of the Pirate National Committee, but I'm over here in California helping to organize California. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Feel free to go into any more detail.
I don't know. I mean, since the elections are coming up for the National Pirate Party, I think the roles are shifting. So everything's kind of in flux.
You are right. You are currently chair, and you are not running for re-election.
I am not running for re-election as chair. I am up for secretary.
Okay. Well, good luck with that. And yeah. I don't know. Do you have any opposition?
I don't, but I would say I would love to, except our deadline for nomination of candidates has passed. So instead I'll say, if anyone wants to fill some of the empty positions from this point onward, please do. Feel free to contact us. info@uspirates.org. That's my plug.
There we go. And also, we have info@papirates.org. If anybody wants to contact us, that is working now. Nice. As well as I just did. Okay. The cyber first for me, the IT guy who's been doing this for 20 plus years. I did my first WordPress blog post tonight. Very first. Yeah,
this
I know.
It's the
very first
wow.
WordPress blog post. I normally always had stayed away from things in website building and stuff like that. So when it came to that stuff, I just let somebody else handle that. So it was never really my forte. So I mean, So tonight that's a milestone for me, and So, anyways, cybersecurity and cyber freedom.
Yeah.
So, how can
digital
we protect
hygiene?
Digital hygiene? Is that what you're going to call it? Okay.
That's the alternate title.
Sure. I got that.
But it's personal cybersecurity, personal privacy, online, digital hygiene. I mean, there's a lot of different titles you could give it.
What are some of the basics, Yari?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I got. So I'm doing a talk on this coming up as part of the national conference, and so I got some notes.
All right.
That's good.
Dive into this. I should say pronouns. Hi. I use they, them pronouns, just to make a note of that. So first thing about this, cybersecurity, right, is that I think a lot of people, as we're thinking about living online in this corporate environment, we live in an age of corporatocracy, right?
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
And I think the most important thing I would say is that it is possible to to live online and still not be to not be monitored extensively by corporations, to not be under threat of cyber attacks, to protect yourself and your information from sale and from attack.
Okay.
It is possible to do these things.
That's good
so
news.
first off, I just want to say, like, that's, I think, like, number one.
Right.
It can be done.
Gotcha.
I don't think I've gotten there yet, frankly. Like,
I know I haven't. I know we've talked about this before, that I am far from that, and I know my information has been breached. It's out there, and that it would take a massive effort on my part to really put that genie back in the bottle. And I'm just not there at the moment. So
I think, yeah, there's a lot of, and I think the most important thing then that I would say to people who have had their information compromised, and especially who have had, most importantly, who have been attacked as a result of that in any way, or who have had their information sold, like, that's not your fault, right? Like, there are practices that we can take. There are practices that we can take to help protect ourselves. But this is like, it's kind of, excuse my language, I'm going to use swear words.
No, that's
That's
fine.
just how I operate. But, like, it's kind of fucked up that we have to protect ourselves in this way, that our model of self-protection has to be a model of self-protection, a model of, you are bad. You are bad for my mental health or my cyber health or my, digital hygiene, etc. Like, I'm going to block you, and not, like, the interactions that we have on a daily basis are facilitated by a organization that is on its basic level good for our digital hygiene. Like, that is not something that we can do like that. That is not something that is already there. That is something that is going to take decades and decades of work yet. It is possible. That is a longer fight.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So if I just give a little bit of my, when you say it's not your fault for some of these breaches, and I think the majority of people that have had their personal information stolen did not have it stolen as anything that they did necessarily.
Right.
I think most of the stolen identities and personal information and credit card information, all that stuff, I think the majority of that stuff has been in some very large breaches, and most of them have been in the news. And that's how mine got breached. I was part of a payroll breach. It's pushing 10 years ago now, but it was probably about 6 years ago. But it was a very large payroll breach from a very large outsourced payroll company that they were hacked. They were breached. Their entire database of personal information and even bank account information, because they had they had direct deposit info was in there. Now, the first thing I did was I closed that bank account and got a new one. That was that was kind of a no-brainer. But the only other thing that they did for us was they gave us like a year of crappy identity theft monitoring. Like, really? You took, we had no choice in this is no fault of ours.
Yeah.
You got breached, and all you're going to offer us is a crappy talk. They sent some people in, and that kind of gave us this lame spiel about, oh, you be careful and keep an eye on your things, and all they gave us was this crappy year's worth of identity theft. And it wasn't even like, how the big names in identity theft.
And they were implicitly blaming you in doing so.
Basically, yeah. And they were basically putting it all on us to cover our own asses. And it was all their fault. I mean, you got breached, you didn't do X, Y, or Z on your part, and you lost a massive amount of people's info. I mean, general service is a big one too. That's where a lot of federal employees and former federal employees information was hacked. I mean, that's what happened to my father. That's how his got out there. He was a federal employee, and it's out there. So, there are ways that people can get their personal information stolen, and we'll get into that. But I think where the bottom line is if it's out there, it probably happened with one of these big breaches.
Yeah, most of the time. And the thing is, like, I think that's the thing is, like, really no matter how it's been stolen or taken, like, even none of us post our information online with the intent of it being taken and used for malicious purposes or sold to some third actor, right? We're always posting it online as either a transferring device or as a way of securing other information or as a way of, whatever. So the fact that the systems in place do not facilitate the secure transfer of our information is not our fault.
Right.
And it's frustrating. What I cannot promise is that at the end of this discussion that we're going to have, that we will have answers to those systemic problems. I think that's a different discussion, frankly.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
What I can promise is that at the end of this discussion, we will have, I will have talked about, and the viewers of this will have been exposed to, a number of practical, useful, and hopefully fairly simple methods of improving their own online security.
Okay.
And
so on that note, what is probably the single biggest thing that someone can do in general? Whether you've been breached or not, but just in general, what is the single biggest thing that you recommend people should do to protect their personal identity?
Number one is a password manager, hands down. And I'm gonna specifically put in I think there's a number of password managers out there that are good. The one that I'm gonna specifically recommend is Bitwarden, Bitwarden. It's open source, well vetted, and a good program. There are other open source password managers out there. I'm not going to go through the whole list. There's a bunch of them. But I do recommend checking out other open source password managers. There are other free password managers. Bitwarden is both open source and free. Generally, those two things go together. I really, really recommend, number one, password manager.
And using good passwords.
Well, a password manager, this is the thing. Here, let me show you. Can I do a screen share thing?
I think so. Go ahead.
I know I can do a screen share
thing. You can, but I don't think I have it restricted. I do not believe I have it restricted. So go ahead.
So here we go. Okay. I'm on a just, for my own security. I went ahead and just enabled a new user. I'm using Linux. And we could get all the way down the rabbit hole and say Linux is the best operating system for you to use, because there's so many fancy and secure versions of Linux that you could use. But I'm not going to go there because that's pretty far down the rabbit hole.
That is pretty far down. That you got to be a fairly geeky person to get into using Linux on a regular basis, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Okay, so yeah. Bitwarden. Oh, what is this? I'm using Google. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Okay, anyway, this is Firefox. I recommend using Firefox or Firefox or Tor. Tor's browser. Or
Can you use Tor? I've never tried to use Tor without being logged into like actually logging into the VPN, so to speak. Does that work without? Can you just use it as a regular browser?
I think so. I don't know. I don't actually use it myself. I usually
Okay.
use Firefox specifically.
Firefox is good. I have no problems with Firefox.
Firefox is good. No, Firefox is good, and they have a pretty good protection against trackers. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to DuckDuckGo actually, because I hate Google, and I want to do settings and search bar and not Google. Thanks. Okay. And the reason none of these settings are the way they normally are is because, again, this is just a new user that I set up specifically for this discussion, so that all my privacy settings are reverted to blank, so that we can go through them.
So you're going to set the default user being this default search engine being Bing, right? Bing is the way to go. Come on.
It would be Bing.
Fun sounding name.
So I guess another step in this is that a recommendation is to use DuckDuckGo as a search engine.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation. DuckDuckGo is good. There are other. Hang on. Let me pull up my search engine recommendations. Okay. Just a second. Yeah, if y'all have good recommendations for that, welcome to do so. Yeah, so the Tor project for a browser or Brave